In this video, we'll be replacing the lower control arm on a BMW.
Has a little bit of water intrusion or whatever, possibly.
First thing we're going to do is remove the wheel. Then you're going to remove the nut on the bottom of the ball joint. It's a 27 millimeter. And again, this will be great if you have power tools because most of those are torqued. It'll be easier to get off, but you can use a ratchet. And there he's holding that nut so that it doesn't spin while he takes the bolt out of the lower control arm from the strut. Next, you're going to remove the splash shield panel. He's using a body trim removal tool. If you have one of those, you could also try using a screwdriver. There's just some plastic tabs there. Just be careful that you don't break them. And then the rest are little 8 millimeter bolts that you'll need to remove. Now you're going to remove the bolt for the control arm that's attached to the subframe. Again, he's using a wrench to hold that nut on the other side so it doesn't spin. Once he gets that out, he's just using a pry bar just to pull it out of place. And he's going to use a mallet on the bottom of that ball joint just to knock that arm out. And then he can just pull it out and remove it. Put the new control arm back in with the ball joint in the hole. He's going to put the nut on the lower ball joint and torque that down to 80 foot-pounds. Then he's going to install the upper end into the strut mount in the subframe. Then you're going to put both of the bolts in, and you're going to put the nuts on them, but you're not going to torque them at this point. He's just using a mallet just to push that through once he gets it started. And again, we're not going to torque those, we're just tightening those by hand right now.
Like the car would be on the ground with its own weight on it. Because then the bushing is set at its resting point where the car's weight's on. If you tighten it before, as you can see, there's a collar, and then as the controller would go up, the bushing would just start stretching, and it would want to be pulled down. So you have to technically load the arm and then tighten the bushing. Gauge on the hoist here. Looks like it just came up. Now I'm going to tighten up the bolt.
Now that everything is in place, he can torque both of those bolts down to 100 foot-pounds each. I'm going to reinstall that splash shield, again putting back those little 8 millimeter bolts and the plastic tabs. Once you get all those into place, you want to make sure that you take that jack stand out from underneath that control arm so that you can lower the vehicle back down. Then you're going to install the wheel. You're going to put the lug nuts on and tighten them to the star pattern that you see here in the video. And then once the vehicle is on the ground, you're going to tighten those lug nuts to 105 foot-pounds each. And then you'll do the same on the other side if you need to remove that control arm as well. And we do recommend that a wheel alignment is done after replacing the control arm. And you're all set.